Please be seated. And I see the jurors are changing their seats on me, but I still recognize you all. All right, state, call your next witness.
The state would call Detective De La Rosa from the San Antonio Police Department.
All right, if you could raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
So be that.
All right, you can lower your hand. Please make sure you keep your voice up so the jurors and the court reporter can hear you. You can state your name for the record.
Detective De La Rosa, San Antonio Police Department.
All right, state.
Detective De La Rosa, can you introduce yourself to the jury and tell them what position you're in for the San Antonio Police Department?
My name is Detective Michael De La Rosa. I'm currently assigned to our robbery task force unit. I've been a police officer for right at 20 years, a detective for past 5 years. So police officer for 14, detective for 5, robbery detective for 2 years.
All right. And you know, you're a detective, a robbery detective. How much? I'd ask this. Are you always called out to the scene where a robbery occurs, or at times do you have follow-up duties?
So as a detective in our unit, we do have follow-up duties and we do make it out to the scene. Our hours are 7:45 to 5:45. We do not always make scenes. If we're not here, we can't make the scene. But if we're available, we try to make that out for our scenes.
Okay. Were you assigned a case involving a suspect named Joseph Contreras?
Correct, I was, sir.
Okay. And in regards to that case, did you make the scene on the original date of the incident?
Sorry, I didn't, sir.
So can you tell me a little bit about how that case gets assigned to you?
So the cases are assigned, we call them overnight cases. We have a unit that works overnight. It's called night CID or night utility detectives with the department, and they make it to robberies, they make it to shootings, they make it to rapes, whatever there is, they make it. Once they do their initial investigation, whether they get an arrest or they don't get an arrest, the case gets assigned to a follow-up unit. My follow-up unit is robberies, and that's how I was assigned the case.
Do you recall who the original night CID detective was on this particular case?
I believe Petrowski, I think is his name.
Okay. And is Detective Petrowski still with SAPD?
He's he retired.
Okay. He retired.
I believe he retired. He finished his tour.
Okay. So in regards to follow-up on this case, can you tell us, I guess, exactly what you did when you received this case and what duties you had as the follow-up detective?
So as a follow-up detective, they had already, effected an arrest the day of. My job as follow-up is to go and try to get whatever evidence is still available, talk to people who've been identified, hopefully maybe get new witnesses. And so in this particular case, I try to get a video. Was told that the video is no longer downloadable or able to download because the system was slow. I used my body worn camera to record the event, whatever I could from there. And I spoke to the victim, who was by chance working when I showed up to the video.
And so you mentioned that that they weren't able to put it on, the system wasn't able to download the video, but you mentioned body cam. I think the jury generally understands, but can you explain to them what you mean by that in terms of capturing it on your body cam?
So our body cameras are, I don't have mine on right now because we are in the courtroom. Body camera is a device we wear on our body. It's activated whenever we are making out to a call, when officers on scene or the patrol officers make calls, make their reports. We use them whenever, as in this situation, we don't have another way to record the incident on camera or with a video recording or the download. We'll set the body camera up and try to record as much as we can, so at least have something captured.
In this particular case, when you made the location of the robbery, did you ask the manager to pull the footage from the time and date in question?
Correct, employee that was there, I think she was around.
And when you asked her to pull this, you were able to view it as you recorded it on your body cam, and did it match your knowledge of what had occurred on the date in question?
From what I had read or what I was following up on, it did.
May I approach the witness?
Yes.
Before you came into the courtroom today, I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 11. Did you watch a recording of your body cam from that date in question?
I have.
Okay. And is that DVD that's marked State's Exhibit number 11, the DVD of your body cam from that day?
My initial audience is that, yes.
And in regards to your body cam, you've reviewed that video, and is it an accurate recording of what your body cam caught the day that you went to the scene to record the surveillance video?
It is.
At this point, the state would offer State's Exhibit number 11 into evidence.
Yes. All right, State's Exhibit number 11 is admitted without objection. Permission to publish, Judge. Granted. Pardon? No, they're gonna play it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Detective De La Rosa, the video we're seeing right now is your body cam. But you know, it's going to record the entire time you had it on during this interaction, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to fast forward on the body cam to on State's Exhibit number 11. To approximately minute marker 16:53:32. Is this where you're reviewing the surveillance video from the date in question?
It is.
I'm gonna play it. Okay. So this is you guys trying to locate the time, any video of the incident, correct?
Correct.
I'm gonna fast forward to 16:54:30. I'm gonna pause. There was an individual who walked into the store at that time. Can you tell us who that individual is believed to be?
To the report that I received as a follow-up, Mr. Joseph Sanchez Contreras.
Okay. And I'm gonna fast forward to 16:55:29. A little bit before that, sorry. 16:55:31. Is that same individual seen leaving the store?
I believe it is.
And is an employee from the store seen following him out of the front door?
Yes, in the registry.
Was that the extent of the surveillance that you pulled on your body cam?
It is.
We heard earlier testimony that there was potentially another witness who who was seen, or who was around where the incident occurred. In your follow-up investigation, were y'all ever able to identify or locate that witness?
I didn't get the name of that witness on that initial when I said report, so I don't know who it was. Already contacted you.
Based on the information you had from the victim in this particular case, as well as the apprehension of the suspect and the surveillance you were able to get, did you submit this case to our office as a crime?
I did.
And what was the crime?
Aggravated robbery.
I'll pass it to Mr.
Defense.
Detective De La Rosa, you testified on direct that you've been a police officer and a detective for quite a number of years, correct?
You're right.
So you've been a police officer for 14 years, a regular detective for 5, and assigned specifically to the robbery unit for 2 years, right?
Yes, in 2 years.
Okay, and so in that time, I'm sure you've handled a lot of cases, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm certain more than robbery or aggravated robbery cases along those years, right?
Since that is.
And then during the 2 years, and so for the past 2 years, you've been working specifically on robberies
Yes, sir.
and putting together a case file to submit to the district attorney's office. That's a standard part of your job, right?
You're right.
And you do it almost every day at work.
Yeah,
You're pretty proficient at it.
I'm getting better. This is 2020. I'm
Okay.
getting better.
Fair enough. But you were trained on how to put a case together, right?
You're correct.
And do you do continuing training as years go by?
Not per se, not anything where we sit down and say, this is training, but we do learn as we go. OJT, pretty much you learn as you go and learn mistakes.
And you were trained on how to question eyewitnesses
Correct.
and how to identify potential evidence in a case.
Through work, yeah, through the police officer also, yes, nothing, no schooling, no direct schooling or anything.
And your training was and experience was pretty thorough, wasn't it?
Could be.
Do you feel well qualified to work as a detective?
Getting better.
And when you handle these type of cases, do you put together a report?
I do.
And part of that report includes details which other officers gathered at the scene.
Not all there, that's their own work.
But on your report, there's a specific section which delineates that, doesn't it? For you to review?
It's not required, but I'll put a synopsis in there. Their work is their work. Me doing the work is a repetitiveness. If I put it in there, it's just so we get a brief overview of what they've done. I know I don't do it, but some cases you'll put in there, hey, this is not exactly word for word. I don't know exactly, but this is what I reviewed, and this is what a quick synopsis of their job, of their details.
Is that your report?
That's correct.
You have a section in there with that, don't you?
You're correct, it says details now.
Okay. And like you said, those details include information or, you know, facts that officers gathered at the scene.
Synopsis.
Because as you stated on direct, you didn't go to the scene that day on, well, the day the incident allegedly took place, you did not go to the scene.
No.
And Detective Petrowski is the detective who went to the scene on the day that the incident allegedly occurred.
That's right.
Okay. And along with that report in your case file, the reports of the other officers, the reports of the detective, you include that in your case file, right?
Yes, sir.
And would it be important for you to review those facts to know what you're looking for when you're following up on a case? would it be important for you to review whatever reports you had, maybe talk to other officers, so you know what to look for when you're following up on a case?
Yes,
And did you learn from those reports that the items that were said to be taken were candies and electronics?
yes,
And from your review of everything that you had available, did you learn that those items were supposedly taken from the express lane at the Family Dollar?
I don't-
Do you have the photos? Sorry, Judge, may I request?
Yes.
Detective De La Rosa, is this has already been admitted into evidence, but this depicts the Family Dollar that you followed up at, right?
If you're saying it's already been established, then it is,
But you went there, right?
you're correct.
Would it surprise you to know that this is the express lane right here, right by the cashiers?
Can't say I'm surprised, but if you're saying it is, then it is.
Okay. And on this photo, there's 1, 2, 3 surveillance cameras that are available, right?
Whether they're actual cameras or dummy cameras, there's 3 things mounted up there. Yes, sir.
Did you ask if they're actual cameras or dummy
I
cameras?
don't remember asking.
Isn't that important for you to know?
Yes, sir.
Because if those cameras were in working order, and this is where Alice Osawiki is claiming that these items were taken, that would probably show something worthy for this jury to see, wouldn't it?
It would.
Okay. Now, you said earlier that you reviewed this surveillance on your body cam footage, but you were not able to download it, right?
That's right.
And if we just go back to the very beginning of this body cam footage, excuse me. Well, actually, let's go to the end. So your body cam footage and your follow-up, do you see this? Can you see this timestamp right here?
Mhm.
What does it say?
Wait again. 10:49?
10:49. So that's 11. Oh, we need to play it. So that's 11 minutes, right?
No, 10:51?
About 11 minutes.
10:51.
So 10:51. You
Yes, ma'am.
spent 10 minutes and 51 seconds at this store following up on evidence that you could obtain.
Watching the video, that's right.
Okay. And you're sitting there with an employee who is working the cameras for you, right?
Yes, sir.
At any point, did you ask her, hey, I see cameras, other cameras in the store. Is this available for me to review?
I didn't, again, it was a follow-up case. I could have, the night detective established everything to effect an arrest. That arrest was made that evening, and I could have, but I didn't.
Why didn't you? It's important, right?
Right.
Okay, and you can review reports, you
Yes,
said, right? Did you know that none of the items that this complaining witness claimed my client stole was found on him?
Yes, sir.
You did know that.
Yes, sir.
So even though you knew that none of the items were recovered, you chose not to look into if those cameras showed that this actually happened.
So again, moving back with the arrest, he was arrested a little bit away. People can get rid of items, just because he stole the items, he was gonna have them on him. The detective that evening, he established the arrest that evening, and I tried to follow up and get the information, to follow up on that.
Okay, but that wasn't my question. My question to you was, those items were not found on my client.
You're
We
correct.
can speculate all we want on why that is, but the bottom line is, there were cameras in the area where this complaining witness said my client was stealing. And knowing that nothing was found, you chose not to retrieve those.
Retrieve the body cameras,
The
I mean,
surveillance.
the cameras, what they showed me when I watched was what I thought was available. I didn't pay attention to up top there. You explained to me that the express lane is there. You said, would it be a surprise? Yeah, it'd be a surprise. I didn't see it listed express lane or anything of such.
But you mentioned during direct that Ms. Osowiki was present, right?
I'm sorry?
Ms. Osowiki was
She
present,
showed up, yes, I'm sorry.
and you talked to her at the end of that body cam, right?
You're correct.
And you could have asked her, hey, where were these items stolen, right?
You're right.
And you did ask her that, didn't you?
I don't recall.
Okay. So if the jury goes back and reviews and sees her gesturing to the front, that wouldn't be her indicating where this took place.
It could.
Okay, and seeing that, you could have gone back into the office and requested to pull those cameras because they were clearly there, right?
I see them, they were there. Yeah.
You had to walk under them to get to the office, didn't you?
If that's the route I took, yes, sir.
And you mentioned earlier when you were describing your duties as a detective,
Mhm.
that part of your duties is to identify additional witnesses if you can, right?
Correct.
Okay, and you've already testified that Alice, Ms. Osowiki, was there that day, that you went back to the family dollar.
Yeah, I thought so.
Okay, and you could have asked her, hey, were there other employees working that day, right?
Good.
Did you ask her that?
I don't know.
Okay. And you could have asked her if there were any other customers available in the store when the incident took place, right?
I could.
Okay. And you knew at least about one, right? Because she said that one was
Someone was
directly
there. Yeah,
involved.
someone was there.
Someone was
the
there.
ID, yeah.
Okay, and would it surprise you that this was a regular customer?
It could be.
Okay, and if it was a regular customer, Ms. Osowiki could have known how to contact that person if you'd asked, right?
You're right.
Okay, and you could have potentially gotten that phone number.
You're right.
You could have called that witness.
Could have been a lot, yes, sir.
Okay, but you didn't do it.
I didn't get the information, you're correct.
And, okay, so basically, when you went back to the store that day, you relied pretty heavily just on what the complaining witness told you.
I'm going about what the case came from overnight. He effected the arrest. He found the circumstances to effect the arrest. So I'm trying to figure out, get whatever else I can to help support his arrest.
But as far as, none of those officers were there when the incident took place, right?
I'm sorry?
None of the officers that responded on the day of the incident, on September 28th, they were not present in the store when the alleged aggravated robbery occurred, right?
I'm not that I'm aware of.
Okay, so even them arriving after the fact, they're basing their reports on things that they learned from other people, right?
From the victim who we're hoping is being honest in an aggravated robbery, yes, sir.
Okay, and they didn't ask anyone else, right? You would have notated it on your report.
The handling detective would have had that on there, and the officer there would have probably had it on there.
Okay, and then, on the bottom of your report, it notates an approving authority, which is Sergeant J, is that Martin?
I really like to pronounce it.
Okay. And so that's another officer who's above you, right?
Sergeant,
I'm sorry, a sergeant,
yes,
who's,
sir.
and he had the opportunity to review what you did on this case.
Correct.
And then after Sergeant Martin reviews this, it's submitted to the district attorney's office, right?
Yes, sir.
And then attorneys there review this to see what you did as well, right?
I don't work at the DA's, but I would assume.
If they have to present the case, it would be smart, right? And if they have to come in front of this jury and present the evidence, and they notice that something's missing, they could call you and ask you to follow up on certain things, right?
Sure they did.
Do they ask you to do any of that?
I haven't received anything.
Detective Del Rosa, in retrospect, do you think you could have done a more thorough investigation in this matter?
There's a lot of things that could have been done. Again, this is 2020. I just been there, so I'm still learning.
So there was a lot more you could have gotten for the jury today.
There could have been.
And it's not a question of it was, if it was available, because it's clear from the picture, there was cameras there, right?
There's cameras, whether they're recording or not, I can't prove that. I don't know if there's some that can prove that, but there's some that look like cameras, I can say that.
Well, certainly, as a detective, you know that surveillance has a very short shelf life, right?
Not everyone,
Not anymore.
there's some that go months.
Okay,
I don't know what their withholding is, but I do know that, how age and antique they look, and they said you couldn't even download it anymore. So I couldn't speculate how much time their retention is. I couldn't speculate anything else in regards to the system or whether those cameras were operating.
okay, but you didn't go and see if they were still available, right?
You
You have not gone since September 29th, when you spent 10 minutes and 51 seconds following up on this case. You didn't make any attempts to see if that surveillance video was still available.
Not after the initial visit, no, I didn't.
Okay. That's witness judge.
All right, state.
Just we have no further questions.
All right, is this witness excused or subject for recall?
From the state's perspective, yes.
Excuse judge.
All right, the rule has been invoked. What that means, you can't discuss your testimony with anyone. The only persons you're allowed to speak to are attorneys for the state and the defense. Thank you. You're excused. State, call your next witness.
State restaurant.
Right, defense.
Your Honor, if we can have a couple of minutes, just a brief.
Oh, sure. All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, if we can be back here at 2:20, you've heard some evidence in this case. Oh, I say 2:20, it's 2:07. Yes, 2:20. We can be back at 2:20. You've heard some evidence in this case. Remember, you're not allowed to discuss it amongst yourselves or discuss it with anyone. I'll let you know when it's okay for you to begin your deliberations. Does everyone understand? All right, everyone, please rise for the jurors. That's okay. You all are keeping me on my toes. I mean, this is a big switch. Okay. All right, everyone, please be seated. The state has rested. Defense call do you have a witness to call?
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to call my client, Mr. Joseph Sanchez-Contreras.
Can you raise your right hand? You solemnly swear affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand. Make sure you keep your voice up so the jurors can hear you and so the court reporter can hear. Defense?
We take off this right here.
Yes.
Which one do you want?
Just go back to the regular YouTube. Judge.
Mr. Contreras, how long have you lived in Bear County?
All my life,
And at the time of this incident, you were homeless, right?
I don't have my zero, my sister.
Oh, okay. And did you go to the Family Dollar on September 28th, 2020?
I want to see the family.
Okay. And while you were in there, why did you go into the Family Dollar?
Went there because I wanted to see if I had money on my debit card.
Okay. And do you remember how were you gonna check that?
I walked right, as soon as I walked in, I walked straight to the cash register. Where I see the cash register lady. Behind her, I was an old lady. It was nice. And then another lady in the front, plugged me through the purse.
Okay. Were you able to check your debit card? Why not?
And she pulled her right beside me. I just pulled her right beside me before I even had a chance to pick up a piece of stuff.
And did she ask you to leave the store?
I didn't hear her because I had my headphones on.
Okay. What happened after that?
I moved towards, I was in the express and I moved towards the electronics. And she was still telling me to leave. I'm assuming because I had my headphones on. And I walked towards the back to see if there was a bluebell ice cream that I wanted to get. When a guy stood right in front of me and tried to get me out of the store. Which he ended up being her friend. She was behind me the whole time.
Okay. And after that occurred, did you exit the store?
No, man, I went to see the ice cream, if they had bluebell ice cream, because there was ice cream with pecans and caramel inside of it. And they didn't have it. So I walked right out.
Okay. And while you were in the store, you didn't take any candy bars?
No, man,
And while you were in the store, you didn't take any electronics?
no, man.
And after you exited the store, well, and after you exited the store, at some point that day, you were approached by police officers, right?
I was approached.
And you didn't run, right?
I didn't have a room.
And you were honest when they asked you questions, right?
I was honest.
And you admitted to being at the store, didn't you?
I was being there.
And you mentioned that you got in an argument with Ms. Osawiki.
They did not ask me.
Okay, but all the questions they asked you, you answered, right?
The questions that they asked me, I asked.
And they searched you after they approached you, right?
I searched me as soon as they moved me over.
And you didn't have any bags on you or a backpack or anything like that, did you?
No, I had nothing.
And they went through your pockets.
They went through my pockets and asked me if I had a knife.
Were you nervous while they were doing that?
No, I was eating the ice cream.
Okay. And then at some point you were taken back to the store, right?
I was taken back to the store.
And when you were taken back to the store, you were sitting in the patrol unit for quite some time, right?
I was waiting for them.
And there was an officer sitting in the car with you.
He was saying he was doing some things on the computer.
And at any point that night, did any detective try to talk to you?
When the detective showed up, or not the one that was on the scene today.
And that detective that showed up, he didn't try to talk to you, did he?
No, man, we just wanted to talk to her, came out and outside and told me what I was facing.
But you wanted to tell your story that day, right?
Now I asked him, what am I being charged with? And he told me that I was being charged with the aggravated robbery. Then I asked him what it was that I stole. And he told me that, and he goes, I don't know, something about chocolate and some headphones that are charged or something like that.
And
I
you,
go, then I asked him about the film,
about the, sorry,
and then I asked him about the film.
the surveillance video,
Yes, I go, and what about the cameras?
because you wanted that to be available for this jury, right?
But that's why I asked him.
Okay, and you really wanted those officers to go back and see that you didn't take anything from that store, right?
I really did.
And they didn't do that, right?
No, man, they did not do that.
And at any point that night, did you pull out a knife?
I never put out a knife.
House witness, Judge.
State?
And we approach briefly, Judge.
Yes. State?
Mr. Contreras, we've never spoken before. My name is Ryan Bermer. I'm a prosecutor with the Bexar County District Attorney's Office. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about the day we're talking about. The first one I wanted to start with, Mr. Contreras, you've had a felony conviction before, correct? Okay. And most notably, the one I'm talking about is in 2017, you had a felony conviction for possession of drugs, correct?
2017, it was the beginning of 2006, end of 2016.
Okay. Around that time period, 2016/2017?
December 31st.
Okay. I want to talk to you. You've been here in the courtroom as a number of witnesses that testify. You heard Alice testify first, correct? And you heard her testify that you came into the Family Dollar. She noticed you and you were taking candy bars. And when she came to stop you, her and another customer tried to stop you from taking those candy bars and you flicked out a knife at them several times. You heard her say that, right?
I
heard you say that.
Okay. And you heard her say that she then followed you outside the store and you threatened to come back and get
I heard you say that.
her. But your testimony right now is that that's not correct.
That is not correct.
Okay.
The only time a person actually interviewed me in custody was when I was walking towards the freezers to see if they had ice cream.
So you said there was someone who intervened, but you didn't pull out a knife and it had nothing to do with candy.
I didn't put out a knife and I had nothing to do with it.
But you were found with a knife around the corner, correct?
Not around the corner, a little bit down the street from my sister's house, and 2 houses down, the apartment complex was right next to it. They asked me as soon as the cop exited the vehicle, he asked me if I had a knife, I said I had a knife.
You heard Alice describe it as a black knife, right?
I heard her describe it.
If you didn't pull a knife out, how did she know it was a black knife?
I don't know how she knew.
So you did see a surveillance video shown with the last witness that showed someone, I think wearing similar clothes to what you're wearing right now, entering and exiting the Family Dollar, correct?
You said someone?
That showed you. It showed you entering and exiting the Family Dollar. Did you see with the last witness who was on? Did you,
I entered the Family Dollar, but that's not my exit.
that wasn't you exiting?
No, I mean, no, sir, because my exit I went to the right side. I didn't go towards where the ice is, the ice machines. And she did not stand by the door holding it. She ran after me towards the edge.
But I guess I thought you said the altercation you were in was with the customer, not Alice.
You asked me if the camera showed me going in and coming out. She was there. I said she stood right there by the door in the camera, but that's not what happened. She chased me.
Why did she chase you?
I guess she was running me off, but I ran towards Ridgely. I took a right. I didn't go towards the left. Where the ice machines were at.
And just because I'm not familiar with this location, are you talking about the ice machines? Is that outside the store or is that inside the store?
In the pictures, it shows the front where the cop is in the front of the store. The ice machines are towards the left, and if you look at the cameras, it shows the same way. The guy who walked out and took a left towards the ice machines. That wasn't my accident. I went the other way, and she didn't stand by the door holding it. She ran after me.
Just permission to publish State's Exhibit number 11?
All right, that will be granted. And for the record, that's been previously admitted without objection.
And before we get there, Mr. Contreras, just so I can make sure I understand what you're saying that earlier when we showed Detective De La Rosa an image of someone entering the store, you said that was you, but the image of the person leaving the store, that wasn't you because you went the other way.
That's correct.
All right, I'm gonna pause it right now. On State's Exhibit number 11 at 16:54:37, is that you walking into the Dollar General? I'm sorry, it's not a Dollar General, it's the
Family Dollar.
Family Dollar Store.
That is me.
Okay. And I'm gonna fast forward to 16:55:32 and play again. Might have went too far. Let me go back. Okay, and now I'm at 16:55:29, and this is the part of the video we showed to Detective De La Rosa. Are you saying the person leaving right now is not you?
Well, I did not make her laugh. And she did not stand by the door.
Okay, so you're saying that's not you.
See that I went that way, that lady came in. I walked towards Reach. That's going towards the ice machine. And she did not stand by the door, but she ran after me towards the edge of the store.
And I'm not arguing about that part, but what I'm asking is this part that I'm showing you right now, you're saying that's not you.
Whether.
Who came out and went left.
No, I mean, I didn't make her laugh. That's what I'm saying. The guy just said one way, I did not make her laugh. I went towards Reach. He's going towards
Roland, where you were found, right?
Roden, exactly where I was from.
Now, but you say that person's not you who we just saw in the video.
No, that's he's making a left, I didn't make it left. I went towards the right.
But if the person on the video we just watched took a left, does that mean that person wasn't you?
By the way I think I know which way I went. So I don't know who that is.
You said you went in there to get some ice cream, correct?
That's exactly what I said.
And you said that when the police found you, you were eating ice cream.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Did you pay for that ice cream?
I went to the Dollar General up the street. This is the Family Dollar. I went to the Dollar General up the street. And no, I did not pay for it. I put it in my arm and sold it.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Contreras, you said that you wanted to tell your side of the story, correct? Whenever they brought you into custody, when they detained you?
When you detain me,
I think on direct, when your attorney asked you that you wanted to tell the detective your side of the story and you didn't get a chance. Is that what you said?
no, I did not say that. Yeah, I had asked him about the charge, and I asked him about the film. That's what I said. I didn't say I wanted him to know anything about, so.
Not your story about you, but what had happened that night. I'm sorry.
No, I didn't talk to the detective. He was in there talking to the lady. He came out here. And when he came out, he was telling me what I was being charged with. And then I asked him about the question that I asked. So,
On the video we just watched, we see Alice following you out and she's on the phone. Do you know who she was calling? But according to you, you didn't steal any candy at this Family Dollar. You left and went to another Family Dollar to steal some ice cream.
oh, it's a General.
Dollar General.
That was up the street.
Okay.
I took the ice cream. I did not take no charge.
What reason does Alice have to make up this story about you taking the Family Dollar, taking the candy from this store?
Well, the only thing I can say is that because when the officer had pulled me over, he says that he had told me that she made a criminal trespass complaint. And that, we're gonna go over here and see what it was about, cause he thinks it's probably nothing, he tells me that it's probably just a secret of a phone call. I go, okay, because he said he told me that she kicked you out before. And she has kicked me out before, and she hasn't seen me for about a month. And that was the first appearance that I made.
Um,
That's what the officer told me.
so she says this, I guess, to get you in trouble is what you think?
Which I think she did a good job.
Okay.
I said, I've been in here since, September 26th, 2020.
And she guessed the color of a knife that was in your pocket, and you said you never pulled out.
I don't know what to say about that.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Defense.
Um, Mr. Contreras, the state just showed you this video that's still on the screen, which shows you entering the location, right?
That's what it shows.
Okay. And this happened quite a long time ago,
Almost 2 years.
so you might be a little confused about the order of what this shows.
Confused on what.
But at some point you did exit that store, right?
I did exit. I went to the right,
And she was following you.
and she ran after me.
How long do you think you spent in that store?
Um, no more than 5 minutes, maybe a little bit more longer. I didn't stay that long because all I did was walk to the cashier and work to the back. I guess me dealing with the person took longer, so you can say about 10 minutes, I was in the store.
Ask what Mr.
No further questions from the state, Your Honor.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you could give us 10 minutes and then we'll bring you back in, okay? Remember what I said, don't discuss anything or start to deliberate until I give you permission to do so. Everyone, please rise for the jurors. Front of the jury then. I'll bring them back in at 3 and I'll just tell them I had something else to do outside the presence. So I'll bring them back in at 3 and I'll let the charge writer know to start working on the charge, and you all can review that. And then we'll be ready for closing arguments in the morning. And let me call her.
You also have jury again tomorrow, just so it'll be around the same time.
Yes. Hi, can you write the charge? All right, is there anything else that needs to be added? then after the jurors are excused, we can discuss the charge. All right, we're ready.
All right, so the jury.
Oh, please be seated. In different spots. All right, everyone, please be seated. Defense, call your next witness.
That's first,
State,
state closes.
defense.
That's closes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you have received all the evidence that you're going to receive in this case. As I told you before, I have a docket that I'm running outside of this, and plus I'm the alternate presiding judge. And so I have other matters that I have to complete from different courts on this floor and throughout the courthouse. So we're going to come back tomorrow at 9:30. And at 9:30, what will happen is I'll read to you the charge of court, and both sides will have a chance to do closing arguments to you. And then at that point, I will allow you to deliberate. So you've heard all of the evidence that you're going to hear in this case. Again, you're not to discuss it amongst yourself or with anyone else. I don't expect this to be on television or in newspapers, but just remember, don't pay attention to any of it. If you see it or if someone wants to speak to you about it, step away. Does everyone understand? All right, so we'll be back here at 9:30 tomorrow. All right, everyone, please rise for the jurors. All right, everyone, please be seated. So far, the only issue I see with the charge, just aesthetically, is because of the font that is used. There are some parts that are darker and lighter than others. So don't worry, that's going to be corrected. I'm going to let the charge writer know to put it in a different font. So other than the aesthetic issues, if you all can look over that and let me know if you have any objections. No, you're fine. Leave it. And they're changing the font as we speak. So when she sits down, we're just going to only print one copy, and that'll be the one copy that goes back with the jurors. All right, have both parties had a chance to review the charge? Defense? All right, state any objection to the charge?
I don't think we have any objection. The only thing, and it's more just, I'm not super clear on it. I know they took out the part where, when the defendant doesn't testify,
Yes.
another part doesn't go in, right? It just, that part comes
No,
out.
yes, that part comes out. Usually, sometimes people will keep in the part where they say that the defendant has elected to testify. But, I mean, it's clear he's elected to testify.
Yeah.
If both parties want a paragraph saying that the defendant has testified, the court is more than willing to include that.
It's just, I think they know, but we're not opposed to that, but at the same time, I don't think it's necessary unless the defense does.
Judge, if that is the entirety of what would be.
No,
added.
that is not there's more that goes with that paragraph other than that the defendant has chosen to testify.
Judge, and then we're requesting that be added in. if possible.
All right. Let's go on mute for a moment. So any objections to the jury charge? State,
No, sorry.
No, Your Honor.
defense, any objection?
No objection. Your Honor.
All right, and just so the record can be clear, part of the charge appears as though some type is in bold and some is not emboldened. I've had the charge writer to deliver another copy to the court that's in a different font, in a different format. So I'm gonna have that printed off, but I'm only gonna print out one, and that will be the one that goes to the jury. But of course, I'll let both sides see it before it's presented to the jurors. Would you have okay, print this one off for me, please? All right, everyone, I'm gonna step into the back and I'm gonna try printing this out on my own printer. So everyone, just give me a moment. All right, so with regards to the charge of the court, my understanding from both sides, there was no objection. The court did notice that there were some bold print within the charge of the court that was given to the court. I printed off a copy with my printer in my office. Is there any objections to the jurors, once the charge is read to them, being given the copy that the court has printed off?
None from the state.
None from the defense.
All right, so we'll make sure that I have that there. Well, with that being said, how much time are you all asking for closing arguments?
20, Judge, I think would be enough. Be our request.
All right,
Judge, we have 25. Sometimes I get a little nervous.
that's okay. See, I always think that people should say 40 minutes, and then somebody can say, oh, I'll just do 30, but sure, 25 minutes to each side. And how are you all breaking that up if you want a time announced from the court?
Yeah, we'll do that, Judge. For the state, if we could do 10 minutes and then 15 minutes.
That's right.
All right, and what start time announcement do you want? When you're
Uh,
getting to,
On mine, if you want to give me 8 minutes.
so you mean 7-minute warning? Oh, you're doing the 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'll do the first one.
All right, so I'll give you a warning at 2 minutes and
And I'll take a 2-minute warning as well, Judge.
2 minutes. All right, defense, are you dividing up your time?
No, Judge.
All right, do you want a warning?
5 minutes, Judge.
5 minutes. All right, we will do that. And so we will see everyone back at 9:30. I may be a little bit later than 9:30. It really depends on the